All right, let's talk about something we all deal with every single day, food. But we're going to look at it through a totally different lens, artificial intelligence. We're about to go on this incredible journey to see how AI is quietly, but, radically, changing our entire food system. I mean, from the seed in the ground all the way to the plate in front of you. So, let's dive in.
So why should you care? Well, it all starts with a number that is just impossible to ignore. $127 billion. Yep, according to McKinsey, that is the massive opportunity AI could unlock just by tackling one single problem: food waste. And this isn't just about saving cash, it's about building a way smarter, more sustainable system from the ground up. And trust me, that's just scratching the surface.
So that huge number really brings us to the big question, right? How is AI actually building a food system that's smarter, safer, and more sustainable? That's what we're here to figure out. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down how this tech is taking on some of the oldest, toughest challenges when it comes to feeding the planet. Okay, to really get it, we're going to follow the food on its entire journey, from farm to fork. First, we'll look at the big global challenges. Then, we'll head over to the smart farms of the future. After that, we're stepping inside the factory to see how AI is cooking up brand new foods. Then we'll tackle that crazy complex supply chain. And finally, we'll take a peek at what the future on our plates might really look like. All right, so first up, what are the problems on the menu? Well, we've got staggering amounts of food waste, major inefficiencies, scary food safety recalls, and this quiet crisis people call hidden hunger. That's where diets are missing key nutrients. These are the huge, fundamental challenges that AI is now being called in to solve. So our search for solutions has to start at the very beginning, the farm. This is square one for the food chain, and believe it or not, it's in the middle of a smart farm revolution. And yeah, we are quite literally sowing the seeds of intelligence right into the soil. The big idea here is something called precision agriculture. And it's a total game changer for farming. Think about it. For centuries, we've just blanketed entire fields with water or fertilizer. But now, AI uses data from sensors, drones, you name it, to create this super detailed map of the farm. And that lets farmers give each single plant exactly what it needs at the exact moment it needs it. It's all about precision, to get the most out of the land and waste as little as possible. And we're talking about way more than just watering schedules here. AI models can actually predict how a crop is going to do before a single seed is even in the ground. And get this, when you combine that with tools like CRISPR, scientists can create plants that are way more resilient to stuff like disease and drought, and even pack more nutrients. All of this means farmers can make smarter choices, and we can cut way, way back on chemical fertilizers and pesticides. This quote from Ian Miller over at Pairwise, man, it just perfectly captures how fast this is all moving. It used to take decades of trial and error to breed a new type of plant. Decades. Now AI lets them make predictable changes in a single generation. That's insane. And Pairwise is already doing it. They're using CRISPR to make things like their conscious greens, which is basically a new kind of salad green that's got more nutrients and tastes milder, more like lettuce. The idea is to make healthy food taste even better. Okay. So we've left the farm. Our next stop is the factory. And this isn't just about boring old assembly lines. AI is bringing in a whole new science of food design. It's changing everything from how we check for quality to how we literally invent new foods from the ground up. For a long, long time, this is what quality control looked like. You had a human expert, a microscope, and they check a few samples here and there. It's super important work, don't get me wrong, but it's also slow. People make mistakes, and it just can't scale. I mean, you can't possibly test every single cookie or can of soup coming off the line. Okay, now contrast that with an AI system. Picture high-speed cameras and sensors looking at every single thing on the production line in real time. They can spot tiny contaminants a person would never, ever see. But here's the real game changer. AI can be predictive. It can analyze all the data and spot patterns that mean a machine is about to break before it ruins a whole batch of food. It can even predict a product's shelf life more accurately. It's a total shift from just reacting to problems to actually preventing them from ever happening. But it's not just about quality control. AI is becoming like a creative partner in the kitchen. Check out this company, NotCo. They have an AI they call Giuseppe, and what Giuseppe does is it analyzes the molecular structure of stuff like milk or meat. Then, it dives into this giant database of plants to find combinations that can perfectly replicate the taste, the texture, all of it. And with this method, they're creating these plant-based foods that are just shockingly convincing. And it's all guided by data. So, if you follow the money, where's all the research going? Well, recent studies show it's mostly focused on the product itself. The big pushes are in improving food quality, spotting defects, and just making factories run better. But there's also a lot of work going into optimizing ingredients and even packaging. It really shows you that AI is being woven into every single step of making our food. Okay, so the food is grown, it's been processed. Now for the really tricky part, getting it to us. The supply chain is this massive, tangled web of logistics. And AI is stepping in to play this critical role, basically untangling it all and turning it into one smart, connected system.
And if you want to know why this matters so much, just listen to this story from Dr. Juming Tang. One single contaminated product from one company, just one, ended up in 350 different consumer products sold under 42 different brands. It spread through the supply chain like a virus. It's just a shocking example of how one tiny problem can blow up into a massive public health crisis. And it's exactly why being able to trace our food is so critical.
One of the key technologies making this possible is blockchain. Now, the easiest way to think about it is like a shared digital receipt that nobody can mess with. Every single time a product moves, from the farm to the factory to a truck to the store, a new secure entry gets added to the chain. What you end up with is this transparent, unchangeable record of that food's entire life story. So if there's a problem, you can find the source in minutes instead of weeks.
And it's not just about safety. AI makes the whole supply chain way more efficient. You've got algorithms that can chew through massive amounts of data, everything from weather forecasts to what's trending on social media to predict what people are going to buy. This helps stores stock just the right amount of stuff. It also figures out the best delivery routes to save fuel and time, making sure fresh food actually arrives fresh. All of this cuts down on spoilage in a huge way.
All right, so we've seen all this incredible potential. But as we look ahead, it's really important to balance the hype with the real-world hurdles we have to overcome. So this last part is all about those challenges and the ultimate hope for what AI can really do for our food.
And for that, I've got the perfect and honestly kind of terrifying cautionary tale. A supermarket in New Zealand rolled out an AI recipe generator to help people use up their leftovers. Cool idea, right? Well, when people started playing with it, the AI came up with a recipe for something called aromatic water mix. The ingredients? Bleach and ammonia, which, if you mix them, creates deadly chlorine gas. It's a pretty unforgettable reminder that these AI models are only as smart as the data and the rules we give them. And if you don't check your work, things can go sideways fast. Yeah, that little story really shines a light on the serious challenges we're facing. I mean, how do we get consumers and farmers to actually trust this stuff? How do we keep all this data secure and make sure the algorithms aren't biased? Then you've got to deal with all the regulations, retrain a whole workforce, and, like we just saw, figure out how to make absolutely sure these AI models are safe before we let them plan our meals.
So here we are, kind of back where we started, but now we get just how high the stakes are. The potential here is absolutely huge. AI really could be the tool that helps us build a food system that's more efficient, more sustainable, more fair, one that might even end global hunger. But the road to get there is full of really tough ethical and technical challenges. So it leaves us with one last question to chew on. As we wire this technology into the very foundation of how we eat, are we about to solve some of our oldest problems, or are we just cooking up a brand new menu of challenges for ourselves?